I grew up as an only child. I spent the better part of my childhood alone. I've known a woman who only saw her husband once in 10 years. Right after their honeymoon, he went back. She never saw her husband till date. I know a woman that had to print pictures of her husband from their wedding to give to people that were going to South Africa to please help me find this man. Most of these women don't see their husbands for years. I grew up around these women, so I know exactly what those experiences have done to them, how they shaped their life and the quality of life that they had. My DM is flooded by women asking me what to do because they're literally in the same situation. I would speak for them because at some point we need to shine light on the darkness, because guess what? These things thrive in darkness. So the community is called Dearnaijagirl community. Our tribe is called Sisterhood Central.
Building a community is not one that is easy to build, especially in this present day and time where there are millions of people with diverse backgrounds, cultures, and perspectives. But I have my guest today who has stood the ground and has built a community of over 60,000 individuals and still counting. Talking about her community, Sisterhood Central. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of being with Cynthia, aka Dearnaijagirl. How are you doing today?
Hi, Linda. I'm great, thank you. And you?
I'm good. I was saying before now that you have this great personality. I don't know how to put in words, but seeing you now, I understand why you're such a force on community building.
Thank you.
How did the idea of building a community come to you?
Growing up, I've always watched movies. I grew up as an only child, and I spent the better part of my childhood alone. And one of the things that had made that so bearable was just having friends. And one of my favorite series was Sex and the City. And I wanted to build that kind of close-in friendship, right? To have a circle of women that I could always count on, depend on, that I could make my family. And then growing up and realizing that making friends was really one of the hardest things, especially as an adult. It's so hard. And for women, experiencing the beauty of selfless community of friends is so hard to see. And there were a lot of young girls that were always asking me questions and reaching out to me, wanting advices and my thoughts on things, because they didn't really have sisters or anyone. And I decided to be everyone's online sister and create a community of women that can just be there for each other and just help women to be the best version of themselves that they could be, from my experience and experiences of other women.
Okay, well, how has that been? Do you think that vacuum, I would want to put it down with, I wanted to feel, do you think you'll feel this? Do you think it's achieved your objective with the community?
I think it's a work in progress. We've had a lot of women that have made friends from the community. I've had so far over 11,000 women that have reached out to me in 5 years for advices and to share their own life experiences. It's a lot, especially when I'm running the community alone, but I've been able to navigate that. I think the void that we're trying to fill, we are doing that.
Okay, I when I look at you, but I saw your community recently to a viral post. But I'm going to come to that. I'm going to put a pin on that and come back to that. I'm going to come back to that post. But let's talk about the community now. One community of women that is very viral is that of dance.
Yes. Love her.
This is your mentor.
Oh yeah, I'm an avid follower. I've attended her events. We've met one-on-one. We've spoken. When I wrote my first book, Dearnaijagirl, What It Means to Be Female in Nigeria, she's one of the first people that I had to give the book to because I really wanted to get her perspective on it, and she's an amazing person.
Okay, because when I look at her, I'm like, is she your role model? Because you're literally doing something close to what she's doing.
I think when it comes to my role model, I like to say it's been the diverse women that I've encountered right from childhood up until this point. The aunties that had lives and experiences that I never wanted to ever have in my life, to the ones who lit the paths for me, to the amazing women that I've encountered. Lots of women are my mentors. Like, I look up to lots of women from here to here, just amazing women.
Okay.
She's one of them.
All right. Before I go to that viral video, let's talk about the fact that your community is one that shares food, if I should use it that way.
So we do community drives. We share food, we share cash, we share resources from laptops, anything that we see that women are needing, from books, we share.
Did you think, don't you think, because I begin to wonder, don't you think that a lot of people are just for that community because of what they can get?
Not necessarily. We started doing this last year because we noticed a gap. Again, the goal is to notice gap and try our very best to do the most we can with it. This is why some of the resources that we share is only available to community members. And before we give out certain things, we also do our own research to make sure that these people actually need what they said they need. Because there's a lot of people that need things, and the country is in shambles, and we have to be there for each other as best as we can. So we don't have members that are solely there because of the resources. We have members that, in fact, majority of the community members are people that are well established, and so we try to reach out to those people that are not as privileged as we are and need our help with established.
How long have you been running?
Dearnaijagirl started in 2020 as a book and then started as a community in 2021. But I was always afraid to share my thoughts, to share my opinions, to give my perspective because of how volatile the online space is and how triggered everyone gets and how very sensitive the whole, people don't really want honest women. I say this all the time because if we begin to share our experiences, I don't think this country will contain us. So I've always been very skeptical and scared about doing that because that means opening myself up to a lot of things. But by the end of 2022, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had to just start because from the little I was doing, I could see the impact on a lot of women, and I was like, you know what, I'll take one for the team. So here I am, taking one for the team.
Yes, and I must say it was in one of those situations where you were expressing your opinion, that one of your videos went viral, and people were not taking it easy on you.
The men were not happy.
Not the women. So for context sake, I don't know if I'm going to play the video, but for the context sake, she was talking about the situation where men marry women in any country they are or where they are living, and then move over to another country where they know that they can't move over with these women.
My sister, listen, ladies, one of the saddest things and one of the most annoying things for me personally, this is a personal opinion, don't come and drag me if you don't understand me. One of the saddest things and one of the most annoying things for me back then was watching women who live in Nigeria, based in Nigeria, marry men that live abroad. When I say abroad, I don't mean the abroad that you can bring your wives to. I mean the abroad that they know that they will never bring their wife to. Example, those that live in Malaysia, the ones that live in South Africa, and so many other ones. If you're an Igbo woman, I'm definitely sure that you've seen these men, you've heard of these men, or you've even encountered them. I almost married one. You might have almost married them. Now, these men will come back from wherever they are and marry innocent women and keep them here and go back. And most of them are actually married to women out there. They're married to those women in those countries. They've married a white woman because they want papers or whatnot and whatnot. And then they have the ones here. And so they come back every once a year and get them pregnant and go back. This woman will live alone, only has a husband that she gets to embrace once a year, has a child that she has to take care of, owned by herself with no partner, literally married but living single.
But I want to ask, what was going through your mind when you made that post?
Okay, so that video was basically talking about I specifically put it towards the Igbo demographic because that's where I'm from. And I like to bring my experiences down to the roots, right? I can't speak on what I'm not familiar on, right? So we have a lot of men who live in, especially Asian countries, where they don't have easy access to travel, come back, and all that stuff, right? They marry a lot of women. Most of the time, these women have the mind, they've already told the women that, oh, when we get married, we're going to move over with me and all that stuff. Or they tell them that I'm going to be coming home as often as possible. You're not even going to miss me, right? I'm going to be home like more than 12 times in a year. I'll come back once a month, twice a month, see you and all that stuff. And then they get married to these women, and then they impregnate the women. They come back once a year. They open stores for them, or boutiques or provision store. So in most cases, most of these women don't see their husbands for years. I grew up around these women, so I know exactly what those experiences have done to them, how they shaped their life and the quality of life that they had. Marriage is meant to be for companionship, right? You don't marry someone and lie to them about the companionship part, and then you use them to raise offspring, and that's it. So I've known a woman who only saw her husband once in 10 years. Right after their honeymoon, he went back. She never saw her husband till date. I know a woman that had to print pictures of her husband from their wedding to give to people that were going to South Africa to please help me find this man. That's how bad it is. She has 5 kids. She's raising the kids alone. No income, no money coming from anywhere, no support whatsoever. 7 years later, someone takes a picture, goes to South Africa, finds the man. He already has a family there. He has 3 kids with a South African. And that's just like a little insight into what this experience is. So one of the things that I do with my platform is have uncomfortable conversations, because at some point we need to talk about it. There are young girls that are coming up. There are young girls that are being groomed by this man. And even if one person can see that video and have a pause and have a thought, then that's enough for me. And to tell you that I'm not speaking off the top of my heart, you can see in that comment lots of women sharing their own experiences about their marriage. In fact, it's even a lot more on TikTok. It has about almost 2,000 comments. I had my DM exploded by women asking me what to do because they're literally in the same situation. There is a girl currently, she's been married to her husband for 6 years. The last time she saw the husband was on the wedding night. And when he traveled back the next day, she hasn't seen him since. Nothing, he's not coming back, nothing. She's just married but single, if that makes any sense. So that was literally the reason why I put out that video, right? Just to talk about it.
Yes, and a lot of people put in their comments. Yeah. And so I'm going to start you from a comfortable one.
Okay.
So someone said, story, I know your type. Brimming with frustration. You criticize everything but can't stand criticism. You retarded hen with your unstructured story. I hope you have a functioning relationship, at least. Well, she has. If not, leave this stuff for people who are in need. Anyway, continue with your content creation, my dear. Or better still, you can reply to this comment. We know content creation and engagement go hand in hand. Okay. So, you have anything to say?
Of course. So I want to also say that most of the times when we come out to say things that we don't get experiences of women, these men don't feel that you should be an authority to speak on certain topics unless you're married, unless you're within their tribes, and unless you have a good job or you're a respectable person or you're educated. I've had people tell me that he's sure his entire lineage is more educated than I would ever be. He knows that I didn't even go to school. He knows that I don't have a degree. And I'm like, uncle, I'm not your mate. Google me. The things I've achieved, it will take you 1,000,000 years before you get it. A little possible of it. So they always assume that, okay, you're coming to talk and you're one of the content creators. And I tell people, I'm not a content creator, right? I've had lots of brands reach out to make it influence to do things, and I reject them because this is not why I'm doing this. Call me as a top leader. I'll come outside and answer you. But I'm not influencing. I'm not doing anything. So you can't say I'm doing this for money, right? So comments like this, trust me, this is the least volatile comment I've gotten. Yeah, so it falls off my phone, really.
And it's not as if you put it on like he was literally, either he's following you or he just stumbled on your video.
The page is community of women, but you come into the community of women and expect the conversation to center around men or support men. It is community of women. I've said it before, if you're coming into this place to drop a comment, I'm going to assume you're a woman.
And this is the funny thing, I reached out to some of these people before I got you on the show, and a good number of them has their pages in private that you can't message them except you're following them. And some of them who are not in private refuse to face comments.
Because they're literally beauty. So check the comment section, you would see. You would see the flag of Asian countries on their bio, which tells you that they are not even in the country. You would see the tribe, which tells you that they're exactly the demographic I was speaking on. So when you see something that literally speaks about you, you're going to feel triggered.
Yes.
So I was very understanding by their comments, to be honest. I felt they were very triggered because, uncle, you're literally guilty of what I'm saying. So I think one of them also dropped a comment saying something like, do you know how hard it is for them there? That even if that men are allowed to have multiple women, that yes, the woman he has here in Malaysia, in quotes, he's not in love with her. that the wife he has in Nigeria, he loves her, he takes up the wife, he opened the provision store for the wife. And another lady came out to say that's usually like one of the things that they do, they'll open a provision store for you and come and they have three beautiful kids. What do you want him to do and all that? And I'm like, you're literally proving my point, right?
Wow.
When you see certain subjects, right, I tell a lot of men, because I have a lot of men that I thought of, when you see certain subjects, especially when women are sharing their experiences, you don't have to be defensive of it because this thing does not happen in isolation. The whole essence of people sharing their experiences is to create a better society, to let you know the things that you do that are wrong. Because let's assume that you're ignorant, that you don't know that that thing is wrong. Okay, this is what you're doing that is wrong. Maybe work towards changing that rather than being defensive about it. So when you have daughters, you have sisters, you have women in your life. If you don't want the women around you to be treated better, then don't listen. Right? Women are the salt of the earth. We're everywhere. You have to do better. Society is in shambles because everyone is just, So that's basically the point of the video, in a sense.
Yeah, but I've got this one from a woman who said, I really hope that one day people will learn to keep their mouth off people's relationships and marriages. I can understand if it's good for those women who were deceived or cajoled into such marriages, not for adults who have the capacity to understand and make decisions for themselves. Una go down gossip feeling some women.
She said a lot. The funny thing is that for every comment you're reading out, I already know it because I read through every single comment, right? So they assume that every woman who goes through this experience was an adult. That's false. Majority of those women have groomed into this marriages. And I can say because I someone came at me at 16, right? So he comes back from Austria. He just moved from Germany to Austria. And he took me at my auntie's funeral. And I was, taking care of everyone as usual. It's a funeral. Everyone has to do something. And he says, oh, I like the way this girl is, so wifely, so womanly, so this, so that, so that. I mean, I'm 16. I don't know anything, right? That he wants to marry me. I had just gotten admission to school. Now, why do you want to marry a 16-year-old? So his sister comes to me and says, oh, my brother is interested in marrying you. And then, of course, they will start with what they assume makes him a high, a very sought after man. They'll say, oh, he's abroad, he's based in Austria, he has this house, he has this, and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm just focused on two for now. And it was so bad that they actually went over my head and went to my kinsmen directly. They were trying to convince me to marry the man. It's crazy. So this happens a lot of times. They marry them young, they groom them up, you don't know any better. And I'm not saying that there are not women that are adults and grown and go into marriages with these men because they want what these men have to offer. I'm speaking for those ones that didn't know any better and get married to these men assuming they're going to have husbands.
Yeah, and then when this adage that says that the way bitter cola is sounding when you're internet is not actually the taste of the bitter cola
at all.
And yes, they can actually make that decision with their open eyes, and when they enter it, they feel like, oh, I can't deal with this.
Yes, and it doesn't make their experiences any less than.
Yes, and most times there is a woman I reached out to, somebody I reached out to, she said that she's just living a private life for now. She cannot come to talk her day, but she will when she is ready to speak on it. And that's the case of a lot of women. Most of them can't really speak about their experiences because of their current situation, or they don't want people to drag them and bash them just for coming out to speak on their own experiences. And that is where people like you.
And that is where I come in. I would speak for them. Because at some point, we need to shine light on the darkness, because guess what? These things thrive in darkness. So if you don't shine a light on these experiences, other girls are going to feel alone. They don't know any better. The people that are experiencing it will feel like, oh, I'm the only one going through this. Our experiences help women all over the world not to feel alone. And I think for me, that's the essence of the community I'm building, to make sure that women don't feel alone. Nigerian women don't feel alone in their experiences.
Okay, talking about this community, your sisterhood center, right?
Yeah.
What is the future? The year just started. We're just wrapping up with the first quarter. What is in stock in the community?
So we have amazing things in stock for community members. First of all, the community is called Dearnaijagirl community. Our tribe, which is the the private community is called Sisterhood Center.
Okay.
So basically what we have in stock this year is to have more people have great anonymous spaces to share their experiences. Most of the stories that you read on our platform are women who don't want their identity known. A lot of people are even still scared. I've had women come to my business and say, oh, I want to share my experiences, but I want to be anonymous. And we say, okay, this is a safe space you can share. But after a while, I think they just feel, okay, I don't feel safe enough to. So we want to create more avenues where they can drop their messages and their stories anonymously to share. We also have our website where people can drop in stories by themselves. You can write a story, you can upload it on the website. We also have a support aspect of the community where people can support by paying a woman's medical bill, helping people to raise education funds, helping people to buy food or take care of their kids, helping single mothers with legal funds for them to maybe pay the divorce lawyers or seek for custody of the kids. There's just so much that we're currently working on. I can't say everything, but we're doing a lot.
You're doing really an amazing work, and I must commend you for that. Well
Thank
done.
you.
You're
Thank
doing
you so
something
much.
that is not easy to do.
Honestly, it's not at all. It takes a lot of emotional toll on me, especially.
How do you deal with that?
I know, I know. Sometimes I just have to be conscious because there are stories that you read and you're like, how is this happening in this time and age? How does someone go through this and come out unscathed, right? I've read a lot of stories, and so sometimes when I see people that say, oh, I don't like certain people, I don't like this, I don't like men, I honestly, I understand because they're the only ones that understand the kind of experience they've had. And when you read their stories, you can see the depth of pain in them. So it's a lot, honestly, but
You've got to say,
no matter how thick my skin is, there are some stories that can appeal because it's a lot of crazy things are happening to women. Yeah.
well done so much. I must
Thank you
commend
so much.
you. You're doing something I cannot even imagine to do. So when I see people like you who are doing it, I'm like doving my cap off to like salute you. Well done. You're
Thank
doing
you
so
so
great.
much.
I wish you all the best in
Thank
your
you.
endeavors. All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you. My pleasure.
Okay, you too can be part of Dearnaijagirl community. The link to the Instagram page will be in the description page below. And you can also support Shattered Silence by using the thanks button somewhere here to support in any way you can. Thank you for watching. Remember to share, like, subscribe, put in your comments, okay? And you can also be my guest sitting here with me on this couch or any other wonderful couch. I will be sitting on. All right, thank you so much for watching. My name is Linda, and my guest tonight is Bye. Bye.